Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Make Our World Your Runway. You know, this is the show that features the most fascinating people from the world of pageantry, modeling, fashion, beauty, and even the business industry. And as always, before we start our show and introduce our fabulous guest, we do have a few announcements that we like to make to all our viewers. Now, one thing we like to remind everybody about is to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so that you can view all the shows from Make Our World Your Runway and even Success Stories. And I always highly recommend tuning into Success Stories, which is produced by the Global Trade Chamber, highlighting stories from some of the most amazing women in the world of business and community service. And Volume 2 of the 100 Most Successful Women in Business is now available on Amazon. Again, I highly recommend getting your copy today. This best-selling book highlights some of the most amazing accomplishments of women in business and community service from around the world. If you are a successful woman, you will want to order your copy today. And get ready for the most amazing business expos and conferences with some of the most successful entrepreneurs and business leaders. Register now for the Women in Business Expo and Conferences 2023 in Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Dallas, Texas. For complete information on these conferences, be sure to visit their website at www.100swb.com for all the details. And also America's #1 event for international trade companies, the Global Trade Chamber Convention Awards and Conferences in Puerto Rico, October 25th to the 29th, 2023. You need to book your tickets now. I am telling you, this is going to be a complete sellout. Every event I've ever done in Puerto Rico sells out months in advance, so definitely go to the site and order your tickets today. And now on to our show. And as I always like to say, lights, camera, action, it's Make Our World Your Runway. Now, today we have an amazing guest from the world of business and also beauty combined. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting this amazing lady in London, England last August. An amazing individual, and you're going to hear with an amazing, incredible story. She's the ultimate legacy builder, a well-known global publisher, visionary woman leader, networker, international speaker, and also an educator. She has a radio show called Facturando tu Historia, if I said that correctly. It's a power talk radio on Radio Metroplex in Arlington, Texas. And as we know, Texas is the capital of sports, entertainment, and events. Her mission with millions is to share her key life recipes with people worldwide. She is also a neuro-linguistic and hypnosis trainer and holds retreats worldwide. She is a mover, shaker, and change maker so everyone can leave a mark in this world. And she's also a survivor of something that we are going to discuss. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Angelica Benavides to Make Our World Your Runway. You are a mover, shaker, and international speaker. I think you've done it all. So tell our viewers what you actually do and what your goals are and what you intend to do.
Thank you. I really want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you and inviting me. It's a pleasure always connecting with you and especially with your audience. I am Angelica Benavides, known as Dr. B, the ultimate legacy. And basically, it's all about building and leaving a legacy for generations to come. I focus on helping women and, of course, entrepreneurs, some men, to really get their stories out and write their stories and tell and share it with the world so that they can leave a book that will outlive them, where they're sharing this story to inspire, motivate, and give hope to people that are going through some type of chaos and struggle in life. As you know, COVID happened, a lot of things happen in the world, especially in life. So how do we really find the light in dark moments so that we keep going? And even if we fall, how do we get back up? you know, and that's exactly what I do. Is I find people like you and people that want to share stories, that want to really uplift people's spirits and souls. So go through depression, you know, it's all about the mental health, and being able to help people and tell them, you know what, you got this, and we're here to support you. So I'm really also a connector. I connect people with other entrepreneurs. If I don't know the secrets, if I don't know how to help, I find somebody that does.
Exactly. And that's very important in today's world. And you hit the nail on the head. You know, COVID hit and so many things happened. I know there were so many of my friends lost family members. I had a family member who got COVID very bad. Thank God she survived, but that hit home for me. And unfortunately, she got it again. Now, here's a girl that's only like 59 years old. And now, because it destroyed her lungs, has to sleep with an oxygen tent at night and has to have oxygen on her back during the day.
Wow.
So, but you know what? I give her a lot of credit. She's an assistant dean, okay, at the Colorado University. She runs the library. She keeps going. And she also has a great story, because here's somebody that really suffered COVID, but is continuing to still inspire others with what happened to her. So I agree with you. You always have to find people that are that have a tragedy, but kept going and can uplift someone else.
Absolutely. You know, I went through cancer, so it was like 7 long years of going in and out of the hospital. And because of that, like we even came up with a book called Dare to Be Me, through cancer, because unfortunately, sometimes tragic things happen. And then that's like when we have this wake up call, right? And then it was like, you know what, I'm just going to go after what I want and do what I want and stop apologizing for doing things that I want to experience and live, and just live life to the fullest.
Exactly. I've gone through the same thing. I mean, here I was at 53 years old and unfortunately suffered a massive heart attack. Okay. A few hours later with 3 stents in one artery. But I got through that and I kept going. And then in 2015, I had to have a complete hip operation, okay, on my left hip. But no one would ever know it. I mean, you've seen me the way I walk around and dance around. You'd never know I had a hip operation, but you keep going, okay? And I had a lot of people that gave me a lot of words of wisdom, even when I was going through that. Now, you know, Dr. D. Thompson, I mean, she's great. I mean, when I had my hip operated on, she was the one who said to me, "You're not one to lie down and go in defeat. Get up out of that bed."
Yeah.
And you know what? I did. I said, you know what? She's right. But I had a wonderful surgeon who was absolutely fantastic. And I have to say, probably the simplest operation, even though it was complicated, for me, it was easy, because I think I had a walker for about 2 weeks, a cane for a week. And then after that, I got in a small heel and I just walked, and the rest was history. So I know, you know, when I see people with walkers and canes now, I actually go up to them and say, I know what you're going through. I did that for 3.5 years because I really could not walk for 3.5. I was almost paralyzed until finally they were able to operate on that hip. They got everything together and there it is. So I like to encourage people and tell them, you know what? There's always that silver lining at the end of the road. When you think it's over, it's not over. Okay. There's still, I told the doctor that when I had my heart operated on, when he said, we've got to get to you within 30 minutes or I don't know what your fate will be. I said, I'll tell you what, you get to me within 30 minutes and I'll show you another 30 years on my life. So there it was. And that's, you know, and sometimes you have to think that way. Even in tragedy, you have to think positive.
Exactly. You know, you have to think positive, and then my saying is make every moment count. Like every day, like we just have to live like it's your last day. You live to the fullest. Get a hobby that brings you up, that heals you, and really impacts and makes a difference. Like with me, I started dancing and now it's become a passion. You know, I do salsa and bachata dancing. I'll be performing this month. And it's something I never even thought of doing, never even dared to do. And now I'm doing it. It's very sensual. It's very sexy dancing,
Yes.
but it brings the beauty within and it just brings it out, you know? And
I
I
love
just
it.
feel alive. I feel alive doing what I love. So people have to find a passion.
Yes, they do. And I'm so glad you mentioned dancing. Now you should, if you really get good, you should go on Dancing with the Stars because, as a matter of fact, you know, my mother and I always watch that show, Dancing with the Stars. And Max, who used to perform on Dancing with the Stars, he has a studio here in, well, they had it in Boca and Del Rey. And every time Max comes to town, you can't find me because I'm taking class after class with Max. So I love it because I've had the opportunity to train with Max. And now when I get on a dance floor, my husband says to me, I can't keep up with you. I said, well, I said, I'll slow it down. But that's because Max, when you get, and it's so funny when you get into one of his classes, it's like 3 days later, the routine comes to you. When you're first doing it with him, he's so fast. He'll show you, but he's so fast. It's like, I'm never going to get this, but you do. Okay.
Exactly.
And it's great. It's a passion. People are smiling. They're happy. And even when you're on the dance floor, you hear stories of other people as to why, like you just said, why they took dancing, because it's just something to, another thing they want to do. It gets their mind off it and it keeps their mind going. Okay. I mean, I have people that say to me, you've got like 5 or 6 projects on the books. I said, yeah. Well, if I didn't have anything on the books, you know why? I'd probably sit in the corner and be a vegetable. If I have those 5 or 6 projects on the books, I know my mind is still going. And I know that I'm going to get up the next day and keep going. So I agree with you 100%. Yeah. So
and you know, go ahead.
No,
No,
go ahead.
I just feel like everything I do becomes a passion. And if I'm doing it, it's because I love it. And it doesn't feel like work. If it feels like work and I don't like it, then I'm not going to do it because it's wasting my time. It's taking my energy and I'm not going to be there. And it's the same thing with friends and people that I feel are vampires that take the energy from me. Then I choose not to be around them because I really care about me. I mean, of course I care about people, but there's a point in life where you really have to care about yourself, which is self-love and self-care.
Exactly. And you know, you and I are both 100 successful women in business. And of course, volume 2 is out. They're going to start volume 3.
Yes.
And let's discuss that for a minute because there were women in that book. And especially we were in London, England together. I was amazed at the stories. When you guys came up with that slogan, Scratch to Success, that was something else because these women really did come from humble beginnings. And some of them became entrepreneurs or they're doing great work in community service. So you were involved in volume 2. I mean, you put a lot of that together. I mean, what were some of the things you did to really get those stories in there?
Right. You know, with some of the women, they're like natural writers, like they just write, you know, with some other women, because they're not writers and they were not used to writing, then I formulated some questions to pull the story out. And then I met with a lot of them constantly to refine it and really get their message out because all of these amazing women, phenomenal women, have amazing stories that they shared. You know, a lot of us, you know, we all start from scratch, but many of us have built businesses. And then like me, you know, because I went through cancer, lost my homes, lost businesses, lost everything because I chose to take care of my health. Because your health is your wealth. And because I lost everything, I had to start from scratch. And I'm like, I know if I had to start from scratch, there's a lot of women out there that started from scratch and many that need to, and they're like, they don't know how to start. So I thought, how about I talked to Maria Davila and I was like, how about if we bring the story and how they started from scratch? How did they get to where they are now? So we, again, inspire and motivate other women to do the same thing. Like, don't stay where you're at. You know, if you're starting from the bottom, it's okay. A lot of us have gained success. And once you know how to get there, you can always rebuild, you know.
I'm glad you said that because I've had to do the same thing. And you know, it's so funny when you mention that because I always watch MSNBC in the morning and Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski. And she has that women's group 50 over 50, which they just did in Abu Dhabi not too long ago. And she'll always highlight at the last half hour some of the women that have been involved. Well, one morning I'm watching it, and she brings on this woman that was 90 years old. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, well, there's got to be hope. This woman told her story. She was a seamstress and she retired, and she had lost everything at about 65 years old. She rebuilt, and at 93 years old, or 90 years old, I'm sorry, she went back to becoming a seamstress and made $1 million last year. And I was like,
Wow.
$1 million? I said, oh, there's definitely hope. I mean, just to hear that story, here was a woman who was a seamstress, had a great business, retired, lost everything due to, she said, medical, and there was things going on in the family. Picked herself back up at 90 years old. I said, now that's an incredible story. Who would think a woman at that age would even want to get back in the business? But she had a talent and she had a passion. My mother just turned 93. Okay. God bless her. Nothing wrong with her other than a little bit of loss of hearing. There's nothing wrong with this woman. Okay. She's got no heart problems, not a diabetic, no, nothing. You know what? That's an inspiration for me, because I'm like, well, if these women can do it and they can live to this age, I say, oh, there's plenty of hope out there, because I hope I can get to that age, maybe even beyond that. So it's unbelievable, these women's groups that you see. In fact, some of the pictures that from London, England, I had them on my social media, and I actually was tagging MSNBC and Mika, and she came in on those pictures and said, oh my God, these ladies are incredible. Okay. So we're being, just what you've done and being involved with 100 Successful Women, and this, the volume 2, and now volume 3 is coming up. It's actually being noticed. Okay. And I give you a lot of credit for that, because I mean, some of those stories in there, I've read them. I mean, I have to read them over and over, because I'm just amazed. It's your story and other women of where these women came from.
Yeah, it's amazing. And right now we have the ebook that just came out. So for those that are out there that want something easy access, you know, it's already online, it's on ebook, and they should get it, because
yes,
if you feel that you're in that dark place that we all find ourselves in, and there's nothing to be ashamed to be there, because I think that when you're there, it's like that, you know, what is it, the cocoon of the butterfly, you know, when you're in there, it's shaping you, and it's creating something new to be born,
right,
to be transformed into this beautiful butterfly, that if you really have the courage to say, you know what, when I step out, I'm going to be completely different and be that best version of me, of whatever you want to be, and just daring to do it. Because a lot of times we don't do things because either someone is telling us that it's the wrong idea, it's not good for us, we have beliefs, we have emotions, we have doubts. But if you really break through all that, at the end, it's magic. It's like, wow, the experience
exactly
is beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful, the experience. You know, you said what you just said, it reminded me of something. When I first went to work in New York City, oh my God, my entire family, oh my God, you go and work in New York, you got to ride the subways, you know, there's crime. And I said, look, I said, I'm going to work in New York. I said, that's it. Everybody was kind of against me, but guess what? I worked in that city for 30 years. I worked in Bergdorf Goodman, which is like the top of the retail. Then I was in the cosmetic industry. I worked for Lancome. I worked myself up to becoming Lancome's trainer. Wound up having an office on 575 Fifth Avenue on the 27th floor. People used to come in, they'd sit down, they'd have a meeting. I said, well, what side do you want to sit? You want to look at the East River, or you want to look at the Hudson River? Take a choice. I worked myself up to that. And then after a while, my family was saying to me, well, you made the right decision. I said, I knew what I was doing. I said, and I never had a problem in New York City. People said, oh my God, subways, this, that. Of course, it was a different world back then, but never had a problem. 30 years I went there, worked there. No one bothered me. No one gave me any problems. I loved it, you know, and I said, if I had, you know, they always say in a time capsule that I was asked, they said, what part of your life would you go back to? I said, that. I said, believe it or not, working in New York City, it was a great education, worked for a major company. And that's what actually taught me how to run a business and how to deal with people in general. And what I loved about working for Lancome is because, you know, we would go to a lot of the hospitals and women that had cancer and going through chemotherapy. We would actually do makeovers on them. And it really uplifted them. I think the best story with that I remember, I also worked for Sephora. A woman came in and she was going to go to her Christmas party, and she had brain cancer, and she had gone through a lot of chemo and a lot of radiation. And she said, you know what? I'm never going to look like the way I used to look. And she showed me a picture of her. I said, sit in my chair. She said, I don't think anybody could work any magic. I said, sit in my chair. When I got done doing a makeover on her and she looked in the mirror, you could not see a wrinkle, a scar, nothing. This woman was hugging and kissing me. I went up to my manager and I said, we are not going to charge this woman. I said, I am doing this on me. I said, you could take it out of my paycheck. Her and her husband tried to tip me. I said, no. I said, this is my gift to you. Do you know that woman became a lifelong client of mine and still calls me every Christmas?
Wow.
And when she sat in my chair, okay, she didn't have the confidence, okay, but I gave her the confidence to show her. I said, what? I said, they always say makeup works wonders, but I built a rapport with her because I started talking to her. Okay. And we just became friends. And then when she saw the makeover on her, she went to her Christmas party. She brought me pictures. And like I said, till this day, still calls me on Christmas. So if I've done something great in my life, I did that.
Wow. It's amazing because as a survivor of cancer, you know, we have all these warrior scars, and I lost my hair, I lost my lashes, my eyebrows. And there's a moment in time that you're going through this and you feel awful and you feel ugly. And as it is, you're losing your life.
Yep.
And then, you know, after I tapped into discovering and after I started dancing, I tapped into that beauty inside. And now I feel younger and I feel vibrant and I feel energetic. And then I have a friend that tells me, you can't be dancing all the time because you're going to get all stressed and tired. I'm like, do you know that that's like revived me? And I mean, it even renewed my spirit, because now I feel younger and people make comments like, wow, look at you now, right? So it's like, how do we help women who are going through some type of, and it doesn't have to be cancer, because it could be any type of problem, depression, relationships, finances. And then we go into this dark moment, and then you can even tell how they're dressing, how they're talking, how their posture. You can tell something's happening. But I think what you do, Angela, it's beautiful because you help women tap into their inner beauty, and you teach them on how to bring it out, you know, some way, one way or the other. So I congratulate you for that, because it's beautiful what you do.
Thank you. No, and you know, that's just it. We always say, I encourage, and you know, I tell all these women, you know, they always say, well, I could come into the pageant, I may not win. I said, wait a minute, hold it. You're a winner just by coming into the organization. I said, you've already won. You're taking that first step, I said, into doing something different for yourself. Okay. You don't need to win that main title. I said, it's like going into the Olympics. Not everybody's going to get the gold, the silver, or the bronze. I said, or not anybody's going to get the gold. But the fact that you were there, the fact that you competed in the Olympics, it showed that you took that next step, and it's on your resume. I said, you can always say, hey, I competed in this international world. You know, and it reminds me of Miss Universe pageant. Gal Gadot, who competed as Miss Israel and went on to become Wonder Woman. She only made the top 15. She didn't win, but look at where she is now. She's made
Wow.
Wonder Woman. She made Death on the Nile. She's got a couple of other movies that she's now doing. Gorgeous girl. Okay. She really was a winner. Okay. So I always tell girls, I said, don't worry about getting on that stage and have fun with it. Okay. Because you've got judges out there, but it's a matter of opinion. But if you are yourself, you'd be surprised. Okay. Because we do give out a Miss Congeniality award. So I said, you could get the Miss Congeniality, you could get the Miss Photogenic, and those awards go a long way as well. We also have the Pageant Planet People's Choice Awards, which is another great opportunity because the ladies have a chance to get themselves on the Pageant Planet website. People can go in there and vote for them. It's just $1 a vote. And a lot of these, I had 3 women that raised almost $10,000 last year. And we donated a lot of that to charity. The top 3 women, they paid all their expenses going into the pageant and then some. Okay. So it's an excellent opportunity for these women to get involved. They paid for their way to get in. And then a lot of that other money we took and we donated to several different charities. We did St. Jude's, we did Boys Town, we donated to Ukraine. We did a lot. So and I always say, when you come into the pageant or any pageant, look at it as a door opening up. It's just another opportunity. Some pageants won't do that. We do that. I always say, and our motto is we're more than a pageant, more than just beauty. We are a way of life for all women because we empower through the crown and we make a lot of dreams become reality.
Wow.
So that our door is open, and we have a classic division, women 31 and over. Because I've had a lot of women that said to me, well, I've aged out. I said, what do you mean you aged out? Well, I'm 32, I'm 33. I said, great, because we have a classic division. If you're 31 and over, you can compete in that. We even did a division for petite women from 5'1" to 5'4", because a lot of women that were petite said to me, well, they don't want us in a pageant because we're not tall. I said, well, you can come into ours. And then we took the supermodel title for girls that strictly want to model that are that 5'7" and over. So we have 7 different titles that we give out, and it's worked because women feel, well, if I don't win this, I could win that. So we tried to do something a little bit different to give everybody that opportunity.
But yeah, that's great because there's a lot of women like me, like we get older and it's like on your wish list, but then you're like, no, I'm too old, like you said, or I'm too short, or we always have one excuse or the other. And I love the door of opportunities that you're opening up for other women to come up and show up for themselves. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And as I said, a lot of women need that. When I was in New Jersey, they had this pageant is still going on, Miss Senior America. You had to be 62 and over to get in. Okay. I could not believe these women that competed. I went there and I judged. They're parading in gowns, they're dancing on stage. That was another thing. I said, boys, that whole the woman that won the year I judged, she was 88 years old. You had to see her when she came out in a resort wear, in the evening gown. She was perfect when she answered her questions. I sat there with my mouth open. I said, well, if she could do it, I could do it to get to that age and do it. So
wow.
yeah, it's amazing. And they do their pageant. Well, during COVID, nothing really went on, but they always did a big show in Las Vegas every year. There was like 50 women that went to the MGM Grand and they did their big pageant. Unbelievable. In fact, one woman, I think she was Miss Boston Senior America, actually performed with Pavarotti in an opera.
I would love to see something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's like I said, I always say to my husband, if I was to hold a talent show, put a sign up, go on a street corner and say talent wanted, you'd be surprised all the people that would come around and start singing or doing this. There's a lot of talent out there that is not discovered. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So, women's organizations are really being recognized in the world. What you do is absolutely fantastic. Okay. And tell me about your Power Talk Live, because I can't wait.
Well, I have a Power Talk Live. It was a live stream, and now I actually have a radio spot, and it's called Radio Metroplex. My show is called Facturando Tu Historia, which is still the Power Talk, but in Spanish, it really means now we profit from our stories. So if you have a story, it's not just staying with the story and writing a book, but now how do you make money from a story, and how do you turn it into a business? So we talk about that in the show. It's like, okay, this is your story, and how are you making money from it now? And if you're not, how do we encourage and inspire people to do that? Because, hey, if we suffered and struggled, now let's make money.
Exactly. And you've kind of encouraged me. I'm still thinking about writing a book.
I think you should.
I'm still thinking about writing a book because, we're trying to do a documentary called The Road to the Crown. And I've also thought about writing a book, The Road to the Crown, or something similar to that, because a lot of women don't realize there is a lot that goes into it. Okay. Especially on my end, there's a lot to go into it. I have to make sure that, all my women are happy and satisfied. But leading up to it, I have to make sure we have the proper place and just all the things that we do to keep the organization going, and where to put our, the special events that we put our women in, and the sponsors that we have to get. So there's a lot that does go into it. Okay. How we deal with people from around the world, because we are an international pageant, and we also have the Latin side. We also have Miss Latina International as well. So I think a book like this is kind of needed. And I think, truthfully, I think it would sell, because there's so many women out there that would pick it up, where you could talk about the first steps, the second steps, how you get to the end results. I think it would go very, very well. And as I said, I deal with this organization called Pageant Planet, and they have a website, and they now have called Convo Talk, which means conversation. And you can go on there and you can feature anything you want to do.
Right.
Yeah, which is
And
great.
I think one of the reasons why people don't write a book, yes, they're busy, but I think they don't know how to start, and then they think they have to write a thick book. And I'm here to tell people you don't have to write a 200, 300-page book. It could be 80 pages, 50 pages. It's getting your message across, saying what you need to say. And it doesn't have to be in a lot of words. A few pages would be fine. A very small, thin book is okay, as long as you get your book out. And then in my radio show, we have more than 70,000 listeners. Like within 4 weeks of being on the show, I went from 35,000 to 70,000. I haven't looked at the ratings yet again this week, but I am. And we have listeners from all over the world,
That's great.
And it's bilingual. I have it in English. I have it in Spanish. I bring everybody on my show, as long as you have a story where you're going to inspire someone.
Exactly. Yes, I know. I have to send you my pictures. I have to do it on my list to do today. Yes, I know. I can't wait to be on that show. No, you've done a lot of great things. And if you say you don't have lashes, look at your lashes.
Well, you know what we do, right?
Yeah, I know. Today I didn't do them, but normally you'll see them. They're out there.
Yeah.
But thank God I never, with all the medication I was on, I didn't lose my lashes. So I'm thankful about that. Because heart medicine, a lot of people think cancer medicine, heart medicine, you'd be surprised. You can lose hair, you can lose lashes, because they have to keep the blood thin. The simple fact is that they don't want you to get another blood clot, or they don't want the heart to go into fibrillation. So there are some long-term side effects, but you know what? After a while, the body just gets used to it. So my body, I think, has gotten used to it. Thank God I didn't lose anything here, but you know what? I got a couple of wigs at home. So I always said, that's not going to stop me. Put the wig on, tease it up a little bit, and out the door I go.
Yeah. And then once you start wearing wigs, or extensions, it's like, I don't know, I like it,
Yes, yes, exactly.
I like
Exactly. That's why I love Halloween. Because somebody knows who I am. I'll put a wig on it. Wait a minute. No, that's not you. Yes, it is. Well, it's a different look. It's the wig,
I know.
In fact, I won a Halloween costume last year. I won first place with the way I had the wig on and everything, because I did something that was different. Okay. That's what I love about it. You can always change your look in a minute, and especially being in the cosmetic industry. I always used to tell women, don't be afraid of anything. Hey, we had women that came in from car accidents and had some deep scars. And there's a product on the market called Dermablend. In fact, one of the big models, Marla Hansen, she, unfortunately, she was coming home one night and she went down the alleyway into her apartment. She should have went the other way, and stupid landlord didn't like her for some reason. And he actually cut her face with a razor.
Oh my God.
She never thought she was going to model again. And she found this product, Dermablend. You would never know she had any scars. Okay.
Wow.
I used it on my hip for a time being, because they have it for the face and for the leg. You would think you had a facelift. It's probably one of the best products out there. I always tell people, you're going out for the night, want to cover up them circles, go buy the Dermablend, because no other cosmetics is going to cover it. And it's a great product. I mean, it was like a miracle product that came out.
Wow.
So there's plenty of things that you can work with, okay, that can be done, all right, that can make you feel, I mean, hey, you may have a bad day. Try something new, and there you go. So, but I love all the things that you're doing. I mean, I did not know you were a cancer survivor, so you put it in your bio. So I congratulate you on that, because you've done a tremendous job with encouraging other women. And to look at you, you'd never know it, because you've got such great spirit. And the fact that you're dancing now, I love that idea. So now we got to get you with Max. One of these days, you got to come to Florida.
Absolutely, yes. I'll be there. You tell me, I'll show up.
When Max comes and does his next class, I will definitely send you a note and say, Max is coming. Okay?
And I'll be there.
You're taking dancing. Okay. Oh, he would love that. And yeah, he's a great guy. Here's a guy that's been halfway around the world. You'd never know it. He's so sweet. The way he talks to people, you'd never know this guy was world renowned. He's so down to earth. And what I loved about him, going back to COVID, when COVID really was on a lockdown, he and his wife, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Instagram, used to give exercise classes for free. 3 days a week. I was taking their classes for 3 days a week. And it actually kept the spirits up, because of the simple fact that people just didn't know where to go. They were hearing all this on television, who was losing people, who was getting sick. So to have that was great inspiration. I also had another very good friend of mine, Melina Amadova, who's a salsa singer. And every Friday night, she, for 1 hour, would do her show online. And it was great, because my mother and I would be dancing in the kitchen. I mean, every Friday night, she'd come on from 8:30 to 9:30, and it was great. It really was. So there was a lot of inspiration out there, and I love that. And I give all these people and women that did this, I give them a lot of credit, because, you know, for that 1 hour, it took your mind off of what was going on. Okay? And it was a little easier to deal with. But anyway, my dear, what are your goals for the future? I mean, you have so much that you're doing. So what do you see? What do you have coming up for in the future, or the near future, I should say?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of activities that I'm doing. One of my big goals is to have a fashion show for women that have cancer, and that's what we're
working on that.
about. And we're working on that to make it come turn into reality. Then also I'm publishing books. I want to continue doing that, and just getting getting more international publications and helping women get their message out to the world. And of course, I'm a grandma, so I want to be able to spend more time with my grandbaby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you definitely need to do that. Well, anyway, my dear, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I think all my listeners and women are going to love this. The inspiration that you're doing for women here and around the world has been amazing. We are definitely going to get that fashion show on. I'm going to send you an email and give you all the particulars, and we'll work it out. I always say to people, give me what you need and I will work it out. I will make
Yeah.
it where it's going to be great for everyone. So again, thank you. I'm so sorry about the time frame. I should have realized that. But
Well,
at
I'm
least
sorry, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a pleasure always connecting with you and with your
yes,
audience.
it is. And I'm so glad that we've met through the Global Trade Chamber, 100 Successful Women in Business. And of course, we know Maria is just absolutely amazing how she connects women from around the world. She's great. So thank you
Yes.
again for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. You have an open invitation anytime you want to get on the show or anybody you want to recommend. Have a great weekend and I will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye.